So for people who don't know, this weekend, our guy Furkan Korkmaz got into an altercation after being ejected from a European basketball game for Team Turkey, where he reportedly fought around 4 Georgian players and security guards once he went into the tunnel. On our YouTube channel, a lot of the Georgians are saying that didn't happen. It's made up by the Turkish media, but Furkan did say, and so did the coach, that this did happen. So then, following that video going viral, Jordan Yang tweeted on Twitter saying to Furk, "Yo, you good? You need backup over there." So it begs the question. So Eric, if you had 4 guys trying to fight you on the court, which Sixers teammate of yours would you want by your side? So this is during your era in Philadelphia.
Sixers teammates, right?
Sixers teammate,
Sixers teammates.
And then if you were to play now, which current Sixers player would you want from this team by your side?
And how many am I naming?
I mean, if you have a short list, you give us a short list, but give us a triangle match. If it was like a wrestling match, give us a triangle match.
I can name 3 people, 3 former teammates from Philly. Rick Mahorn, Derrick Coleman, and Vern Maxwell.
Wow, that's funny. I had all 3 of those guys on my list.
But if I could clone someone, I would have 3 Derrick Colemans.
Oh man! So Coleman wins. So Coleman wins then.
In a heartbeat, I have 3 Derrick Colemans.
Oh man!
But yeah, those are the first 3 that probably come to mind. DC was just, and then Rick Mahorn is Rick Mahorn, and Vern is by far the
Mad Max.
He is someone you want in your corner. That's me. Someone you want in your corner. Max, boy, he was great. He was awesome. Great.
Someone you don't want against your corner.
Oh, no. None of those guys.
Most guys that you want in your corner, you do not want against you.
But you know the thing about Max and is DC is like they'll take it off the court, out of the locker room. Every time they see you, like they different breed, man. Different breed right there, man.
Yeah.
As far as current,
actually, no. Before you get to current, since you asked, what if we were doing all teammates from all teams? Let's I want to hear that too. Actually, if you have a different,
man, I would still take those Philly guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, only other guys that maybe I'll take outside of that was Frank Brakowski, without a doubt.
Seattle days, right?
Yeah, the late Jerome Kersey. He was so strong. Like it was like he grabbed me and moved me one day. I thought it was 5 people doing it. It was just him. Let me see who else. GP. I'll take Crazy Gary.
Yeah.
And then Terry Cummings, old school Terry Cummings, strong as an ox, man.
So these are all like are some of these things that you saw against like other players? You were like, damn.
I saw against other players and some of them kind of knowing their mentality, some of them knowing just their strength.
Yeah, and you running
into them and all of that, and kind of seeing them. Like, some guys see them in the weight room. So for different reasons, that's why I was saying if I had to pick one person, Derrick Coleman without a doubt.
Wow,
with no hesitation, and Vern would be second.
Yeah,
so my Philly and Rick, but I had Rick when he was older and more relaxed. But younger Rick, I'm sure he would have been right up there with DC.
Yeah. Mahorn's name stuck out to me when I was looking at it. I was like, are we thinking about like?
Yeah, see, a lot of these guys, if you aren't really paying attention, you wouldn't really know, like, sort of who I played with. Outside of really DC, you wouldn't really, if you haven't really followed my career like that and really been into it. Some of these guys you wouldn't even know, they were teammates. So,
I had the same exact 3. Obviously Mahorn and Coleman is just straight up size. They're just huge guys on top of the attitude part. They're huge. I had another guy in there strictly off looks. If you had him in your corner, it'd be pretty intimidating. Was Matt Geiger? Just having him in your corner too off looks, you'd be like, who would want to get?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
you had Geiger,
Matt is not going. He's not a fighter.
It would be
Matt more a lover than a fighter, man.
It would be to stop the fight from happening when they see Matt next to him. You know
what? Now he did intimidate people with size.
We're good. Yeah,
Matt's a cool guy. Matt was like, no, Matt's like, he's trying to avoid that stuff.
Laid back, yeah.
He's too laid back, man. That good life. He wasn't really like that.
Yeah, that was pure like looks though to show him. All right, never mind, man. You brought your boys. Forget it.
Was Tractor Trailer? Because you played with him in Cleveland, right? Was he a tough son of a gun?
Yeah, Track was tough. But Track was like, he wasn't gonna mess with Track. But Track was a really nice guy. Like some of these guys, they was just like really nice guys. I didn't really personally experience them, that other side of them. Some of them I kind of seen it, so I kind of know. Like, so some of them you hear stories, some of them you kind of experience it. So just naming some, it doesn't mean that other guys wouldn't make the list. This is just the top guys. I mean, that was just
of course,
the top guys on there.
Oh yeah. The top 10 of this list would be still. I mean, the 10th guy would be pretty. Here's an interesting question though, because size wise, not intimidating. But AI is someone who I wouldn't think that would ever back down to anybody. So
no, without a doubt. I mean, if it's a different question, you just want somebody. If I'm just saying, somebody I want in my corner,
yes,
he's there. You know what I'm saying? Like we're just saying, based on Furk's situation with his team, like based on that situation. Yeah.
Now, and Marcus and I were talking about this too, like, being big Sixer fans for a long time, I didn't see a lot of guys test Iverson. Even in the beginning of his career, not a lot of guys were like, let's see this guy's about it. Because he is, and he was.
Yeah, I think you guys didn't really have to test him because they seen his toughness in playing. I mean, you see someone his size, you kind of see what he does. But I think he was just so real with people. Like, he wasn't really, like, guys didn't dislike him. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys genuinely really liked him. We never really had a lot of guys to like go at him, and like you had guys that try to rough him up because of that was more to try to wear him down more so than kind of get to him. But that stuff didn't work. So, I mean, pretty soon, guys are like, man, I'm not getting fouls, just trying to, I'm going to foul out, just trying to knock him down.
Interesting.
Get back up and still give us 50. Like, what are we doing here?
It started in the mid-'90s, and that's when everyone always tries to draw comparisons to now being snuff in comparison to the 90s. Granted, they probably talk about early 90s, but still, mid-'90s had a little of the leftover toughness of the early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I think guys were still trying him, but it was done differently. Like the coming off screens and just hitting guys, like you couldn't really do that. So you would try to punish him as far as making him come off pick and rolls and then getting a little hit in, or posting him up, getting a little hit in. Like that's sort of how you did it. But just going and taking him out, that stuff was, fading. But people would knock him down like all the time if he went in for a layup. I mean, they tried to get him, but he got back up.
Yeah, he's a little cat, man. Crazy.
Yeah, the only evidence I saw was when '96, his rookie season, when Sixers were playing the Bulls, Rodman and him got into a little thing. When Iverson was going for a rebound, Rodman kind of slapped him in the face, and Iverson pushed him up out of bounds. And then I think Weatherspoon broke it up, and a couple other guys broke it up, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Leave it to Robin to be the only guy to actually try to test Iverson a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't with him his first year, so I'm sure it probably happened more so than. But from my experience when I joined the team, he had went through the circle, so it wasn't as established.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that. he was more established, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe I came his second year. So, and that was in January of the second year, I believe, either second or third year, second thing.
So there was the second part of the question on this current Sixers team. Who do you think would be the guys that Furkan would call for that as far as the reinforcement types, again, the Derrick Coleman types on this current roster?
PJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably made up like that. I mean, I guess you could take Joel from a size standpoint.
Yeah.
Some guys surprise you though. Remember the whole Cat Embiid thing? Simmons had a good headlock on Cat, man.
Yeah.
That surprised me. When I saw that, I was like, okay, Ben. Like that was the most
Reed,
yeah.
I throw Niang in there too. Niang doesn't.
Yeah, Niang. I mean, he's offering.
Yeah,
he is.
I wonder how for real he is about that. Would you actually fly out there if he needed you? If he's like, yeah, man, come on here.
I think he would fly out there to do that, but
I think international assassin.
He would generally help him if he was here, but I'm not saying that.
How fast can you be here?
Yeah, that's a little different. Yeah. But I understand what he's saying. Yeah.
Like 3 days. Give me 1 to fly, a couple days for jet lag, and then I'll be all right. Then we can start it up. Yeah, I think the easy answer would be PJ. But hey, man, this team needs an enforcer. We've been saying it. I don't know, man. Furkan is a turkey wing. I think he might be a guy off the bench that might be in the future, man.
He is showing a little bit like that little tenacity, though.
Grit.
Yeah.
Throwing people off him. He was back throwing the ref off him at one point.
Yeah, you don't want to see all that though, Teja. All you want to do is see Furk shoot a three.
Yeah, you're damn right. You're damn right. But hey, if that makes him hit it, then
yeah, I mean, fight through them screens and shoot a three. He good from your standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I care about. The only thing I want to see move is the net for Furk. All right.
And the guy he did get into his face though was significantly shorter than him. So I mean, that's he's not gonna be facing that many guys, like that in the league. Because a
couple of those dudes were NBA players though.
The guy he got to the fight with wasn't though the main dude.
One of them was. What's his name from Indiana? I think. I forgot his name. But yeah, one of them for sure is an NBA player.
Yeah, you got to really think about what was going on for them to do that. Like, what was this conversation about? Like, what? Yeah, it was more than just an argument.
Yeah. You got ejected too for that. You got ejected before?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like this. Yeah, so it was then for them to take it there, and that many people to take it, like.
For security guards to get involved too. That's also another thing. It's like there's the ones who got involved also with players.
So something was being said, or either it was some previous history there or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy. Pulling Carmelo, man, going to the bus.
Who?
Remember the Carmelo story? And he was waiting by the bus. I forgot who that was with. Who was that with?
Look, Derrick Coleman. We were in the locker room, and DC still had us, like usually when you play a game, you still you kind of take your stuff off or cut your tape off and get maybe your ice bags before the coach, unless the coach comes in and talk right away. But sometimes they kind of take their time to come in and post game talk. So DC locker was beside mine. It was beside mine, but we had lockers in between. So it's just he and I in the back corner. So, and he was sitting there and his leg was shaking. You know how you just like shaking your leg? Like you think about something, and he was like fully dressed, like shoes on, warm up on, uniform, everything's still on. Usually you kind of take the wet clothes off and maybe put a dry shirt on or something like that. Everything's still on. Didn't say a word. I asked him, "You all right?" Didn't say a word. Just looked at me. So with DC, I kind of know when he just look at me, I kind of know what that means. Like, just let him be.
Yeah.
So he just looked at me. I was like, all right, man, I'll talk to you later, man. So then coach came in and spoke. And as soon as coach was finished, we brought it in. And then I turned around and DC was gone. And we know what happened then. That's Derrick.
Other locker room?
That's wherever he needed to go to find whoever he was going to find.
Dude, we went to a
DC didn't play, man. Like, he was, but he's the nicest dude. Like, that's the craziest part. It's like, he the nicest guy, man. Very helpful, and talk to him even to this day. Like, very smart guy, read, do all that stuff. But man, when you get on this bad side, like,
play,
man. It's like, man.
Was some of that like competitive spirit? Like, would he like foul hard in practice, but you knew you were all good with him, but he was just fouling hard because that's how he played type thing?
Nah, he didn't really he wouldn't really do something just to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't just like, how some people try to come out and enforcing is like their game.
Yeah.
Like, Derrick Coleman was arguably one of the most talented guys I've ever played with, just from a basketball standpoint. So usually someone that talented isn't really like that, because they don't really need to be like that to kind of make their way in the league.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he was like that, and he was that skilled. You know what I'm saying? It was very interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
But I tell people all the time, like, look, man, I played against a lot of very good power forwards, and I believe Charles Barkley used to say it all the time, like how talented Derrick Coleman was. Like, he was up there. Like, he was really, really good.
His game would transfer too. He'd be great now.
Different breed now. Boy, he was. Oh, now if he played now, because him, like guys like him and Rasheed, because they would be centers.
Yeah.
And they could shoot, and both of them could use both hands. Like, they would be very, very effective.
Yeah.
So
that's great, man.
Did you ever get the backstory on what he was upset about that day?
Yeah, I'm gonna let that one go.
Okay.
It's a few stories like that, but I'll just give you the first part of it. How his mentality was.
We went to a Wizards-Sixers game a long time ago, and we sat. My sister-in-law at the time worked for an agency, so she got us like the really up on the court seat. So we were right there. And my brother, one of my brothers, not him, with another one, started getting drunk, and he was mouthing off. Obviously, I'm a Sixer fan. I was a Sixer fan then too. He was not. So he started getting real mouthy with you guys, man. And he started yelling he was all over Coleman, man. He was all over Coleman.
Uh-huh.
And you could just see it too. And it's crazy to be that. It was my first time being that close.
Yeah.
That close to the point where they can hear you. It's not like, I'm going to yell and say random stuff.
Yeah.
Something will get through.
And you can't even really see who was saying it. Yeah.
Dude, it was close enough you could have a conversation with you guys. It was crazy, dude. And when they sit at the block on foul shots, you talk to them and like eye contact because I can hear you. And he used to stare at us, and I was like, dude. I mean, we weren't even worried about people coming out, but I was like, Coleman, man, I wouldn't do that. And he didn't care, and you could tell he was hearing because he'd hear my brother, you're a bum, you can't make a shot, and he'd be begging for the ball back. He'd like, come on, McKee, give the ball back, man, like that.
Philly's an interesting place.
Few guys gave that, and I remember another one was my brother. We went to a Miami Heat game against the Wizards, and Zoe was also not having either. So when he'd be across staring at us, he would just be giving my brother the worst look, man. You want no part of it. And Zoe's another guy.
Yeah, I mean, guys, like, people don't realize that you can get people ejected.
Yeah,
like, you can do it if they saying something that you deem is they shouldn't say. But I mean, back then guys didn't do that. They'll just rather if you're close enough, it's a loose ball, you better watch out.
Yeah.
Yep. It was incidental. I was just going for the ball. I mean, yeah, I would think about doing that too if I was playing. Crazy, man. Yeah. I was Alonzo Mourning was
I'm sure if the situation would have called for it, guys, DC would have went in there and go for the ball without a doubt.
Yeah. I was definitely scared of him that day. Even though I was on the same side. I was like, I'm a Sixer fan. That ain't me.
That's fun.